What's up, peeps? It's the Wig Man, aka the Magician. And today, I want to talk to you about why I am anti-suicide. Because it's important for me to affirm my life and the reason why I'm still alive, and step into a role of being an example for other people who struggle with mental illness and bipolar, because collectively this subsect of society struggles with contemplations around suicide. And I'm reading a book called An Unquiet Mind, which is about a doctor who has manic depression or bipolar disorder. And I'm not finished with it yet, but part of what she tells in her story is her fight against medication. And she was faced with a patient who was in and out of hospitals and created all kinds of problems when he wasn't on his medication. And she's debating whether or not she should stay on it herself. And when she sees that reflection through this patient's behavior and the results of his life, she is forced to ask herself, what is the benefit in defiance and trying to prove that I can do this on my own without medication? And how many people this patient is creating problems with and destroying his life, and it just gets worse. And so this morning I was reflecting on how many people are fighting the diagnosis, fighting their illness, and insisting that they do things on their own, all the while they're stuck in depression, or their mania drives them to behave in ways that risk their life. And if they are willing to stick with a program and stay consistent with it, then they can escape this conundrum internally. And it's not easy, and I'm not in any way free of it myself, but the video is for me to affirm that I'm here to be an anchor point for others who are choosing to help themselves and choosing to stay consistent with their treatment practice, because suicide is not the way. It's selfish, it's destructive, it's an act of ultimate arrogance and pride, because you're unwilling to seek help or accept it or be consistent with what collective society fights so hard to help people who struggle with certain illnesses to deal with. Now, there's a lot of different perspectives on this, and I've had my own in the past, but at this stage of my life, I have to accept that there's a body of professionals who are invested in treating my illness and have figured out a certain set of tools that work. And I'm just a single person trying to navigate life, thinking that I can do things on my own terms, and yet when I bump up against reality, sometimes that reality is not in favor of my position. And that's what I've had to accept about my bipolar disorder is reality doesn't care if I think that I can do this on my own. The, the, the outcomes that I have had to deal with over the last 6 years have ended me up in multiple ER hospitals, multiple mental health facilities, broken relationships, tarnished social status, social position, and a lot of shame, a lot of self-hatred. And for me, that's just not worth it anymore. Like the trade-off between creativity or hyper-creativity and ideas that inspire me over functioning relationships with people I love and a stable life that I can confidently, extend to friends and people I love it's not worth it to give up. And the selfishness of insisting that I do this on my own has proven not to work over the last 6 years. So my position on suicide is that there's so many people invested in my well-being and happiness and success, and it's my responsibility to compromise and average out my position so that I'm integrating back with my community, with society as a whole, in a healthy way where I'm learning to live with acceptance. And instead of a child who fights because they don't get the toy they want, learning to roll with the cards that I've been dealt. And there are plenty of people who've been dealt more difficult cards than me. And that's another thing that I have to remind myself of is it's my responsibility to stay alive because I am in a position to help a lot of people. And it's a responsibility that I want to own and that I know is important for me to show up and invest in other people for because I'm capable of it. And if I'm still in this body, healthy, capable, then I have to show up. I have to make an investment. I have to be consistent. I have to be available. And I have to do something that's meaningful in service to others. And so, for anyone who is overly invested in their own drama and can't see beyond their stubborn positions or prideful ideas of how their life should be, which isn't, then I invite you to think about all the people you could be helping if you got out of your own way. And all the people who would be grateful for your support and your presence if you weren't preoccupied with your own suicidal ideations or frustrations about why people don't understand you or need to defy life and reality. And it's just such a strange conversation for me to have because there is a side of me that is childlike and playful, and it does find expression in healthy ways, and I'm going to continue to look for ways in which it can express itself, but I'm part of a larger ecosystem of humans, and it's important that I learn how to balance that out with my responsibilities as an adult. So I'm here to be in service to those who struggle with mental illness, for those who are overly artistic, for those who want to find a better solution to the chaos of their life, and I'm confident that I can be of service in this way. So feel free to reach out to me if you or anyone you know in your network resonates with this message or would, and I'd be happy to work with you on improving your life. Much love.